The lip bite felt around the world. Like, people were feeling things. I think a lot of people wish they were Sasha in that moment.
In my head, he doesn't speak English, but he does speak French and Russian. So it's like you can't have him around other characters.
Wow, you're really challenging me here now, too, because I don't speak French.
Yeah.
Can I swear on here?
Yeah, say whatever you want. This is free speech.
Amazing.
If you could pitch a plot line to Jacob for the character, what would it be?
All right, hear me out.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mitchell, and welcome to Let's Unpack That. Today, I have a friend of the pod and my favorite canned vodka soda brand CEO back co-hosting with me, Spencer Hoddeson. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. Spencer, have you seen those things on Instagram where it's like the what seat are you in and it has like tables or like airplane rows?
Between Instagram and Twitter, I probably have seen all of them. And
Okay.
I've internally calculated what seat I'm in.
Okay, well, I fear today we're in row 7C of this one that I saw right before we started. So we're in the back row, unfortunately, but we have great company because the person that we're sitting next to is the guest on the pod today. You may know him from one of the best Netflix movies of 2025, The Wrong Paris, or a little show called Heated Rivalry. Kaden Connors, welcome to Let's Unpack That.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Well, the first thing I do in every episode is Hyperfixations. I feel like as a gay podcast, it's so important to share the things that we're obsessed with, loving. So this is the space to share that, whatever it may be, big or small. I'll go first and then I'll pass it over to you guys. So I promise this hyperfixation is not due to having a Canadian on the pod. This is authentic. This is genuine. My hyperfixation is poutine.
Ooh, yeah.
Which is so good.
I don't think I've ever had it.
Really? Never. Do you know what it is, Spencer? Are you familiar?
I actually don't. It's grouped internally in my mind in the same category as like Vegemite, like international somethings that I don't actually know what they are. But oh no, poutine's like gravy, right?
It's good. It's not like Vegemite.
It's French fries with gravy on it, and sometimes there's like cheese on there, meat.
Yeah.
It's like an elevated cheese fry almost. But that's my hyperfixation. I can't stop thinking about it. I want like 2,000 pounds of poutine.
Oh my God.
But Spencer, what is your hyperfixation?
Mine has been like nostalgia video games. I don't think of myself as like a gamer, but I do get a healthy addiction to video games from my past and feel like I need to go back and beat them. So right now, for like this entire holiday weekend, I've been playing an Xbox game, Diablo 3 from like 2012. Caden do love. I went deep. I played like 20 hours this week. It's like unhealthy, but like whatever. You could have a drug addiction. I have like a nostalgia video game addiction right now. I barely came up for air this weekend, so that's where I'm at.
I remember playing Diablo 3 on the PC. That was
so good.
Wow. The best times are behind us, hey?
Honestly, yeah.
In some ways.
In some ways. The nostalgia, too, just, like, makes it better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a gamer, so I can't relate, but I support you guys living your best lives. Kaden, what is your hyperfixation?
Wow. Okay. I mean, I have, like, a few, but the main one, actually, is funny enough, is also related to, like, technology. But I've been really hyperfixated on, like, the 90s and early 2000s, but specifically like I'm not kidding, I've been looking up flip phones and like I'm trying to convince myself in and out of like maybe buying a flip phone and potentially just owning a flip phone again, because I don't know, I just like technology has hit this point for me. I feel like it's just too accurate and like in our face, everything's so specific all of a sudden. And maybe Stranger Things did that. Like, you know, Stranger Things has been like this is like based what in the 80s or something. Once you like see that, you're like, wait, there was like this time when technology was kind of like cool and it was more like a little tool on your hip. Now it's like we don't know how to function without our smartphones.
So are you fully gonna ditch your smartphone?
No, I was like contemplating ways that I could kind of create like a hybrid lifestyle where like basically I use my smartphone less. And also like just how can I swear on here?
Yeah, say whatever you want. This is
Oh,
free
okay,
speech.
amazing. But like how cunty would it be, you know, like just like flip phone, like answering a phone call, my agent.
I have PTSD because I dated someone last year, 2 years ago, and he had a flip phone too, and he would switch back and forth between his like smartphone and his flip phone, and he wouldn't
Oh
tell me
no.
when. So I would like be texting his smartphone, and then 4 days later he would like respond and be like, oh sorry, I went on a trip and switched my flip phone. And I shit you not, like I would panic for 4 days, and I was like, oh, like this is over, like he hates me, he's ghosting me, like yeah.
Oh yikes, yeah.
PTSD. So if you do it, you need to have healthy communication with people that you are switching to the flip phone, or figure out a way where the numbers are combined.
Yeah.
And Kaden, if you do this and someone really needs to get in touch with you, they can just buy a Cameo. And then you have to respond. You have to address them.
There you go.
Yeah.
Clip that Cameo.
Pretty much. Oh god. It's so funny because I was reading, I'm like just finishing the long game, and
spoilers.
I didn't realize
for those who haven't read, skip a few minutes here.
Oh yes.
It's not my ear.
But just, you know how like there's that like fan video thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize that that's what people were referencing. People were making jokes about it everywhere. Did he literally leave? Okay, I'm done talking about it.
No. I think it's really funny that you're on that app, considering the role it plays in the plot. You know?
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize that. So when this all happened, and then I was like chatting to Rachel, her and I are friends, and I'm like, like talking about Cameo, and she's probably like, "You fucking idiot, go read my book."
I don't have the spoilers and I haven't read the book, but I know there's something with Hayden and Cameo because I keep seeing it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I am avoiding all of those spoilers because I'm only on the 5th book.
Well, okay, Kaden, I just have to know this isn't. I'm not going to say anything spoilery, Spencer. Anyone listening, don't worry. But did the plane sequence get you?
It was very like sudden for sure. But I thought there's no way that, you know what I mean? I don't want to.
I'm turning my volume off. You can talk. Just wave when I should turn it back on.
Okay, wait, well. It was just such a sudden, like, whoa. You know, like, I felt like I was on this, like, you know, pretty consistent train ride. And then all of a sudden it was like, whoa.
It like totally came out of nowhere. But like, I love how it's used, how she used that in the film. Like it really, like things like that, you know, wake people up. And I think that's what was kind of happening with the characters. But yeah, it was like, what? And then I'm like, there's so much book left. I'm like, things don't end here. But also like, what the fuck?
Well, and the book focuses so much on Ilya and his journey. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for them to write Sasha into that storyline. Like maybe he has to resolve some trauma. Plane. Exactly. And wait, I think that'd be really great. Okay. Spencer.
Okay, I'm back. I feel like a little kid and I just put my earmuffs on.
We'll talk more about Heated Rivalry a little bit later, everyone, so don't worry. But, Kaden, I love to start by asking people to introduce themselves. Like, if there's someone listening to this and they have no idea who you are, they've never met you, never seen you in anything or anywhere, what would you want them to know? So who is Kaden Connors?
Hi, I'm Kaden Connors, and I'm a queer Canadian artist, actor, and filmmaker. And I love long walks on the beach, and and I love Mexico because that's where I'm at right now.
Shout out to Mexico.
Shout out to Mexico.
I think that's a great snapshot, and we're gonna unpack all different parts of that. But let's start at the beginning. So you grew up in the Toronto area. What was life like there? You know,
it wasn't bad. Like I grew up in the countryside. So it was kind of nice. We had a lot of like acreage to run around. As a kid, I was obsessed with, I mean, I still love animals, but I was like obsessed with animals. Like I had like, I think like the reptile guy come to my several of my birthdays growing up. And I had like, a leopard gecko as a pet. And I was always outside running around and climbing a tree or something. So that was definitely like, early life for me. And then, when I got in high school, we moved into like more of like the city area. So then I faced the city, and it's funny enough, I didn't actually live in Toronto proper for a while because I was like an hour west of the city in another town. And, you know, then ended up eventually making the move out west to Vancouver and lived in Vancouver for a lot of my formative like adult years. And then in the last couple of years, I moved back to Toronto. But yeah, Ontario, it's really cold in the winters, and then it can get really hot in the summers.
So it gives you a little bit of range. She has a lot to offer.
She has some range. She's versed,
Yeah.
if you will. Yeah.
Sure. Was there any media that you would say was like formative to you growing up, or like you found yourself loving?
Yeah. So I'm a big nerd, to be honest with you, of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. And I think those are like a lot of the movies. I have like two older brothers, so those are a lot of the movies that just like, we would watch, and it just very quickly just became like super hyper fixated on those things. I loved like fantasy and sci-fi stuff. It wasn't until like later on that I really indulged in like more indie artistic films, which I absolutely love now. But yeah, early on it was like a lot of like adventure with like really high stakes.
You do kind of have like a Jedi vibe to you, Kaden. Like I can see you in the robes, like with the lightsaber. Like I can really envision that. It's feels like that's like it written in the stars, like fate. Like Disney Plus cast him as the Luke Skywalker origin story.
Andor season 3.
Stop. If they didn't cancel it, yes. I have emailed my agents before, okay, T, requesting Lord of the Rings and Star Wars stuff. I've literally been like, if you guys have any ins, and a lot of it was based in the UK or out of the US, but I was like, I don't care what you have to do, but if you see anything in a breakdown come in, get it to my desk.
Well, thankfully, there's some new people in charge at Lucasfilm, so I think there's hope. There's hope. Fingers crossed. Everyone manifests.
Fingers crossed. And the Rings of Power is still going strong. So
You loved Star Wars. You then started getting more into indie stuff over time. But when did you start acting?
I think in like middle school, it's like drama class or something, right? I don't know if that's what y'all use in the US, but ever since then, I was just like, as soon as like we could pick up something and act something out, I've always been like, I'll do it. I love doing that. As a kid, I was like really goofy, and I really loved making people laugh. Started as theater, and I loved film and stuff. But even like as a kid, I would like run around with a camcorder in my neighborhood and like make little movies with my neighbors and my cousins and my friends. So I feel like it was always there. I always loved it.
There's something so magical about like a drama class or like a theater club, like growing up, especially like living in the suburbs of the city. I feel like it's like the one safe space where like you can feel a little bit of joy and happiness.
100%.
Do you remember like when you really fell in love with it and was like, oh, like this is my shit?
The feeling of getting on stage and like performing in front of people, I never experienced a thrill like it. Like it was never the same, even with sports or this or that. And like, not in a cheesy way, but it really like, I just felt so alive when I got on stage and was acting. So for me, I don't know, call that a chemical addiction, but I was just like right away, just like, this is so fun and fulfilling to do this. And like, there's a beautiful thing that happens when you are like, hey, I have this as a skill, like I'm good at it, and I freaking love doing it. and people love when I do it. Like when you have all that, it's like a really, really cool thing to experience.
It's called being gay and attention seeking.
Absolutely.
I will say I also did martial arts. That was my big thing. I did lacrosse
Wow.
for a little bit. And then I went into martial arts. Yeah. So I was a little bad bitch.
Okay.
Is it martial arts or karate? Is one like a proper term?
So martial arts is like the blanket term. So it's like karate is one of the disciplines, but then there's like kung fu, jiu-jitsu, judo, all that.
Which
Taekwondo.
art did you practice?
Mainly karate. I did kung fu. I did a bit of Muay Thai and Kali, which is like a Filipino Arnis martial art. I did a bunch, but mainly it was karate. I even have my black belt.
We are not fucking with you if we see
No.
you in an alleyway.
No. Like, people better not cross you, Kaden.
Yeah, shit.
No, it's fun. It's different though than like a team sport. You know what I mean? Because that one's very like individual.
Okay, well, they need to reboot the Karate Kid for like the third time.
A gay Karate Kid.
The story writes itself.
When we get woke 2.0 in 2028, I think that'd be perfect.
You're onto something.
Yes, when like American media is ready to just clock into that again, I think we'll be ready. Growing up, were you religious at all? Were you like going to church?
Oh yeah.
What did religion look like for you?
I was very religious. Like I came from a religious family, you know, to the point where like all of our friends basically were religious. And I think for me in my formative years, it was very like comforting, and like it was my whole framework and groundwork was like, you know, being in the church and stuff. And it shapes your worldview, how you interpret life, how you experience life, what you imagine life to be like in all stages before you, now, and like what's to come. So it's a pretty intense thing, as you can imagine. And I was happy. I was very happy in it when I was younger.
When did you realize that you weren't happy doing it anymore?
So I actually went to university and I was studying at a religious institution. And I was studying theology and philosophy, a bit of psychology, and thankfully theater performance. So I actually also was doing like a double major, double minor, which was crazy. And I was majoring in theology and majoring in theater. Very funny.
For those who don't know, what is theology?
Theology is like the study of God. So like atheo is like A is without. So that's why it's atheist. And a theist is someone who believes in God. So theology is the study of that. But which is basically like in other terms, it's kind of like church. It's a more philosophical approach to like ministry and church studies and just things that people would learn when they're like going into the church as like a job, or you know, they're going to become a pastor, for example. So yeah, I was in that. And then it's like I was so far into it studying this that it's like the further in I got, the less convinced by it I was.
Was it just kind of like, I can't necessarily just blindly believe all this information? Like there wasn't enough to back it up for you, or?
Yes, I think truly, not to get too philosophical, but I think people who don't think too deeply into what they believe are often in this like comfortable warm zone in that worldview where like their ignorance is bliss. And so they don't, because everyone around them is the same. So they don't have to like explain themselves or whatever. And they're all just doing the same thing. And so it's really easy to believe what you believe when everyone else is believing the same thing. But when we studied it, we got really in depth on like, okay, so why is this one of our doctrines? Why is this? And so you had to literally like we were like studying biblical hermeneutics and exegesis, which hermeneutics is taking the Bible, for example, a passage, and applying it to today, modern day.
Taking it very literally and being like, let's apply this.
No. Hermeneutics is more like, is not actually taking it literally. It's like taking it and saying, how does this affect us now in
Got
our...
it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But exegesis is when you're studying, going back to like original translations, and you're looking at like the context of the message to the people. So for example, like there's letters in the New Testament, Paul writing to certain groups of people, like Greek groups of people, for example. And like that, I'm sorry, I hope this is interesting because I'm just going off.
No, I love it. I love it.
And so like, you know, he was writing to these people and there was a reason. Like these letters aren't meant for, you know, 2,000 years later, Paul Blart over there in the corner. Like the dude writing a letter had no idea that guy was going to exist. So it's like stuff like that. But then hermeneutics is like how we can take because when it was compiled through the whole thing, whatever, they believe that this is the holy word of God, right? So anyway, so I was like right in it. So to basically, because I was so in depth, it was like I got to this point where I was like, if I cannot, with like good faith and like knowledge and good argument and philosophy, explain all the things I believe, then I would be doing a disservice to myself and others to continue believing it. Your conviction matters most. You have to like actually believe what you believe. You can't just blindly be whatever. So anyway, so I got to the point when I was studying it really intensely that I realized, oh, wait a minute, not all of these things are adding up, and I have to really, and it wasn't all at once. Like I started becoming a very like liberal Christian, I would say, because it's just like the natural transition kind of out of it if you are like someone who's just like not necessarily like aligning with it.
In the lead up to that and making that, you know, kind of reaching that breaking point, like when you were in high school and stuff, like were you like kind of starting to feel like, you know, those more maybe contradictory ideas to kind of what you were being taught? Were you dating? Like, were you trying to kind of fit into like those Christian norms?
What was the tension there between like religion and sort of your sexuality?
To be honest with you, it actually wasn't, it didn't really become like a big deal actually until I was in college. I really like believed it. Like I was like in it. Okay. I was very in it. Also like I identify like on the queer spectrum somewhere. So like I've dated women. And so for me, it wasn't because of that reality. It didn't really seem as much of a pressing thing because even if, you know, I was figuring myself out and like maybe like processing my human experience of feelings towards like men or people of the same sex, then all of a sudden, you know, it was so easy to put away because I had that other thing that was already there, if that makes sense. And it wasn't until college when they came head to head, it was like that experience with my religious belief kind of like starting to crumple a little bit. And then they both kind of naturally, that journey kind of, they came together, like my journey out of religion and my journey of like discovering who I was to be like my most authentic and free self came at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It was like two tectonic plates coming together and there was an earthquake and you shook things up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about when you actually did make the decision to leave school and pivot and how your life changed.
Well, I basically dropped out of college after 2 years. And then I took a little bit of time off. I did some traveling. And then I was like, screw this. I need to do what I want to do. And I knew always like the thing I've always loved was acting. And I dreamt even when I was a kid of being like an actor. And it's sad because I chose not to because of influences from people around me, actually. And in some ways it is sad. In other ways, I really do believe it's not necessarily the philosophy that like all things happen for a reason, but I do believe that like the journeys we go on, like there's so much to be grateful for, even in times that felt like I wish it had gone differently. there's something redeeming about it. And often it's down the road when we look back that we go, okay, I'm happy that that didn't actually go directly and I had to go a roundabout way, for example. But anyway, I was like, no, I'm here. I'm doing this. I want to pursue acting. It's what I've always wanted. And I knew that now that I was breaking out of this, I was like, all of my friends were in the church in Ontario, where I grew up, like in this area. I was like, it only makes sense that I go to school abroad. So I basically just got up and I left with one of my best friends. We moved to Vancouver, and that's where I started like my film and TV studies specifically for acting. And yeah, like it was like all at once. It was like me discovering myself, me pursuing a professional career as an actor. Like it all happened like at the exact same time. And I'm really grateful that I had the courage to do that, because I don't know where I would be or how I would have done it if I didn't go somewhere where I could be like, hey, to everyone who doesn't know me, this is who I am. That was like that like incredible ability to start over. And I feel lucky because I know not everyone has that ability. I know people in the US, around the world, who like have stayed in the same state and can't get out, for whatever reason. It's not like a given that you get to just get up and travel or even like go abroad for school. It was an incredible opportunity that I'm very grateful for.
It's always fun to get to reinvent yourself a little bit and do a rebrand, I guess. Some could say.
It was a major rebrand. Major.
What did your life look like in Vancouver? What were you doing?
I was doing the most. I was doing the most. I don't know. Everything. Like I did a lot of hiking because, I grew up around the outdoors. I really love the outdoors. I was enjoying the Rockies and like the ocean. I love water. And so like it was very outdoor athletic lifestyle. And then I was like, basically in the summers, I was always on the beach. And as I was like going through school and then auditioning and, it's the same everywhere, but basically I got like a job to pair as an artist to help me as I'm like getting myself up. For years, I was doing that. I was just like serving and bartending, and I had a lot of friends out of there and a lot of other artists too who were doing the same thing. I really, really, really enjoyed my life in Vancouver.
Well, as you were there building your friend group in school, working at the restaurant or bar and auditioning, like what types of projects were you trying to be a part of?
I did the odd like short film or school film here and there, but I was really trying to get right into like, proper professional jobs. I got an agent basically right out of school when I graduated. And then just like right to the books. I remember times where I would be like, now post-COVID, it's different. Everything's almost everything's self-tape. Okay. So on my convenience, I just have a deadline to get it in by. And some people love it. Some people hate it. Right. Because you're missing out on like before you'd go into the room, and like there's something about being in the room and sensing someone's energy that's like so important. You kind of lose that a bit. Before COVID, it was like, I'm at work, I have an audition. I remember times where I would literally between tables go to the back to work on memorizing for my next audition. Or there were a couple times where I had to literally hand my section off. Thank God my managers let me do this, to like them to take care of, or like spread the tables out to my other fellow servers, and then run out, go to this audition, and then like rip back to my job. So it was kind of chaotic. It's like all over the place.
And then you're just waiting, fingers crossed, and hoping that you hear back.
Literally waiting and waiting.
Would they give you like a deadline or a timeline, or would it just be like blind, like, hey, Kaden, you auditioned for this months ago. Do you want to come for a callback, or do you want to do this job?
Oh, they don't tell you if you don't get it.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
You really train yourself to be like, this is my baby. I'm so focused on it. Boom. And then you're like, audition done. And then you just go to the next one. Like literally, that's what you have to do. They're like, forget about it. Because if you don't, the mistake is you get too attached and you think about it, and then you're just going to let yourself down. I will say this, most actors who aren't kind of in this ballpark of the career taking off, most actors, 98-9% of everything that I audition for, you're not getting. That is just like, those are like the stats for, people. So you have to really redefine what that is. And so, everyone goes through it. It was tough for me at first, but then you realize every audition is a learning opportunity. It's practice. It's fun. Like I loved auditioning, and then I went through a period where I was like, God, I hate auditioning. And then I realized I will start to resent everything if I stay in that space. So then I had to like reestablish my relationship to auditioning. And now it's like, God, if you're not having fun, you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun in the practice rounds, you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
So now I have fun with every audition. And even if it's not fun, I'm telling you, I make it fun. There are times where I'm like, fuck, what the hell is this? I'm like, God, I don't want to do that. And also, you're allowed to say no. You're allowed to be like to your agent, whatever. You'd be like, I don't want to do this one. I struggle with people pleasing, so I basically do everyone. But I will, if I don't like something, I will be like, I'm going to make it fun.
You're allowed to say no. I just don't.
Yeah. Basically.
Well, do you have a favorite project that you've been a part of?
Yes. A few. Heated Rivalry, obviously. That's a given. I feel so lucky to be on the project. There's an upcoming one, which I think we'll talk about later, but it's Lunar Sway, and it's another like indie queer project. But the one that's like mattered the most to me was there was a project my friend and I worked on. Her and I like co-created it, called Foragers. It's like a sci-fi series concept. We had like a Bible and all. And we worked on this thing for like 8 years. And then finally got it picked up by a local company in Vancouver. And we made like a kind of like a pitch compact pilot. And being on set and in the shoes, because I like helped create it, but I also played one of the characters that we made. And so it's just something else when something is your baby and then you get to be on a project like that. It's like, it's way more powerful. So I just remember like being on set in the shoes of my character that I have been creating and writing about for like 7-8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then to actually be there, it's like I can put myself right back there when I like stop and think about it. Like those 3 days that we were there, like on set, and we filmed outside, and we're like in this like beautiful space, and it's like, oh my God, it's like one of the happiest times of my life, like literally.
Yeah.
So it was just cool to see something like that, a sci-fi project that I made, basically get made. And since then it's on hold to move it up and get it somewhere else. But the fact that it even happened was really cool.
That's awesome. It's like cool to see both the ones like get to be a part of every part of it, beyond just like your performance, but like being a part of the creative process and like making that magic. That's awesome. You'll have to let us know when
100%.
It comes out, because I feel like now we need to see it. Well, you mentioned Heated Rivalry. You play Sasha in the show, Ilya's ex-lover, who is the son of his former coach. How did you get involved in that project?
So I got the audition first for Ilya, actually.
Okay. What scenes did you have to do for that?
It was a bathroom scene from episode 2 where Shane kind of confronts Ilya. I think it was after like the award shows. And then it was the tuna melt. It was the tuna melt scene. And then where Ilya's dad calls him. And he gets up and he leaves. And the scene ended there. Yeah, it was lots of fun.
Did you do it like in the full-on like Russian accent, like in Russian, all of that?
Yeah, so like all of those scenes were just a Russian accent in English.
Yeah.
So I actually had one of my friends kind of help me a little bit. I listened to Russian. So just phonetically, I was like, I kind of taught myself. And I will say I love accent work. I love playing with different, like I love characterization, and often like language and dialect plays so well with characterization. I just like phonetically learned the accent, like, and how it sounded. I'm sure it wasn't perfect, but when you have only a certain amount of time to prep for the audition, you do what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I went in, and then at the very end of the scene, when he picks up the phone with his dad, he's speaking Russian, and it only says in brackets on the audition, like in Russian, but it just says in English. So they're expecting the actors to just read in English. I was like, hell nah. I'm going to translate this. So I spoke to one of my friends who is a Russian speaker, and he helped me translate it and kind of taught me how to say it. And I was like listening. He like said it and then I repeated it. So I taped it and I actually spoke Russian when I picked up the phone and did like the like tonal, how they sound. And
Is it often that you go like the extra mile for an audition like that?
I want to say always, but you know, obviously I think it helps to go the extra mile for sure because it's competition. You're competing against a lot of people. But I will say, I'm not going to stand here and say I do all the time. I've had auditions that have been so like bad that I've been reading them. And don't get me wrong, there's actually some people who say it's fine. You don't have to be off book, depending on the casting director. It's a much more American thing though. In Canada, there's a lot of expectation to actually just have it memorized, which makes sense. It makes you help you be in the present and actually act. But yeah, no, I've also had auditions where I've like completely just, and I'm like, I'm sending it in, I don't care. But yeah, I definitely went the extra mile for this one because it was a lead and it was something I really liked. Like when I got the breakdown, I saw it was a queer project based on a book and like all these things. And like, oh, I'm fucking in. Like, I want this role. And then they basically emailed and they were like, we really liked his performance, but we're going a different direction for Ilya. I'm like, cool. They're like, but we have another role in mind for him. I'm like, sick. And I'm like sitting here waiting. I'm like, okay, can't wait to get this audition. So I'll put in the audition for this other role they want for me. We don't hear anything. We check in. We don't hear anything. What is happening? All of a sudden, the offer just comes in.
Wow.
They email. They're like, "Hey, we want to offer Kaden. It's a smaller part, but we want to offer him this role." And I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." I mean, if I don't have to audition and then just get given a job, like I'll take it.
Yeah.
So that was great.
So your Russian must have been like really good. They were like, "Damn, this guy's committed."
Yeah. I mean, yes, until then I saw like how much Russian I had to do. And, obviously like it was for an audition purpose. It's like, okay, cool. You can fool an American speaker and any English speaker, like it can fool, right? But when you're on professional TV, now you're on like, okay, so now we need to work on fooling Russian speakers. So to do that, they brought in the Russian dialect coach.
Oh, a dialect coach. Okay. So what was that preparation process like, both with the language and building out the performance itself?
I did not have a lot of time leading up to actually shooting.
Okay.
When we say like the timeline to get this film done was so compact, even just leading up, like the going from pre-production into production was very quick. And it happens all the time.
What was the turnaround from like you getting the offer to you shooting?
I think it was like 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
Which like isn't actually bad, especially for like the size of role I had. But what was daunting was having to like learn the Russian. So we worked with a dialect coach, like Connor and I, because Connor and I were the only non-Russian speakers who had to do Russian. Now Connor had a lot more Russian, so obviously like I think he was like from morning to night working on so much prep and a lot of Russian. But I got some time with Kate Yablanovsky was our Russian dialect coach. Go Kate, love her. And so I worked with her a little bit too, every day. And it was a lot. I mean, we went from like looking at the alphabet to basics to like sounds to like there's like a soft L sound and then a hard L sound and a soft D sound and a hard D sound, which like in English, we don't. We just have hard.
We're just going to clip that. We just have hard.
Hard. We just have hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then from word to word, then it started sounding, obviously if you just stay there, then all of a sudden it sounds like you are saying it like this. It's like, obviously you can't do that. So then I had to there was a process to it for sure. It was a lot of fun. It was challenging as heck. And if I had to do it all over again, I would.
When you were getting ready to like actually do the performance, like how were you kind of building out the character and the choices you wanted to make in that scene?
Sasha isn't in the books. In fact, Sasha doesn't even have a name in the books. So my character was very unique in the sense that like there was almost nothing to base him off. So, the world is your oyster, and Jacob made some really cool choices. And so I was developing the character myself in my prep work based off of like the things I knew. And so I kind of came to like understand that Sasha comes from wealth. I mean, just given the shirt alone was like insane. I was like, I think it was like the most expensive piece also that
Really?
Hannah got for the character. Yeah. It was from this like beautiful French boutique. Oh, it was stunning. So as soon as all that was kind of lining up, I was like, okay, yeah, he's like oligarch son vibe kind of thing. Like parents' money doesn't work. Probably has never worked a job in his life. So coming from that was a lot of fun because now I'm like all of a sudden coming from basically he's like so easily can be interpreted or experienced as like a rich snob or like just kind of like he thinks he deserves everything and whatever. And so when I was kind of playing into all that and understanding my relationship with like Ilya, and while it hasn't always fully been established, some people are like, oh, he just wanted to basically just play. Like to him, it was fun. It wasn't anything serious. And perhaps that's what it was. But the higher stakes option, it was always more fun. And he could be the ex-lover where it's like there were like feelings there and he wants Ilya. And I know that that would make a stronger choice, especially if they bring Sasha back for season 2 and have him, whatever, mess with things. I don't know what they want to do with it, but yeah.
But we're manifesting. What was that day like on set doing it?
It was so fun. It's always so exciting when you get to a set for the first time as well. Like, you're nervous, you're excited, you're whatever. But oh my God, like the amount of talent and professionality like that was on that set was insane. I knew right away that this project was going to be big, just based on that alone. And then, getting there, the snow in my scene, like when he's doing the drugs off the kitchen, like the sink, that I all learned on the day what was happening. I had no idea what was happening. I was like, so what is this? And, everything is like professional and, safe, etc. And so that I just had to like jump into, and then, my character's drinking. So there was a lot going on. I will say like you have a layer of acting, like you are using muscle and like effort when you're acting, right? It can tire you out because it's like a performance. As much as you want to be like in your body and just be organically just reacting to things, there is an element of like you're still embodying a person. So there's like the acting element. Then he's high. So I have to remember that. And he's drunk. So I have to remember that. And there's intimacy. On top of that, the biggest one, the language. So I had like all of these conditions that I was applying on top of like the actual acting that made it like a really good challenge and lots of fun. And so, it just took a bit for us to warm up. But like once we settled in, and I found like the rhythm and the play and the fun. Oh my God. Like Connor and I were just having fun. And Daniela, Ksenia, she like literally we were all in that room. We're all just like playing. We're finding energy, whatever. And then especially for like the intimacy after with Connor, when Svetlana leaves the space, it just was just like playful. And I really got to lean into like Sasha for who he was, right? Because that was like all of him right there, especially because Ilya's, he wasn't saying a lot. He was very much in this kind of like more docile, submissive kind of space. And like Sasha was just like the aggressor.
The lip bite felt around the world. Like people were feeling things. I think Sasha really... I think a lot of people wish they were Sasha in that moment. They're like, oh my gosh, I wish I was biting Ilya Rozanov.
I'm waiting
like
for that viral tweet to hit. It's coming.
Oh, yeah.
People are like frame fucking every episode, and the lip bite is coming.
Oh, yeah.
Was that lip bite scripted, or was that a choice that was made?
It was. Yes, it was. So unlike the like intimacy in the actual novel that goes into depth and detail, you don't, not only is there just, you just don't do that in a screenplay, but you don't have, because everything's timed, right? You're writing to just get the point across and not take up too much space on the page so that people can reference it and know kind of like, yeah, the timeline and length of like how the show's going to run, etc. So you don't get to just be like, and it's going to look like this. So it just said the action of my character grabbing Ilya's package. I like picking my words. And then the lip bite. But it didn't really explain it. So on the day we got to work with the intimacy coordinator, which was really fun. And the director.
In this specific scene, like, what was the intimacy coordinator doing to help get you guys to then the end result that was on camera?
So we have a conversation with the intimacy coordinator, both actors separately. We get asked if we're comfortable with things according to, like, the director gives you a list of all the things he wants to be able to do with you for the character.
Sure.
You give permission or you don't. And you make a contract, you sign it. And then basically on the set, the director describes to the intimacy coordinator what they are wanting in detail. The intimacy coordinator then came to us. It was like telephone, and describes kind of like, are you comfortable doing this? Can we do this? Da, da, da. And so then walks us through it. So then once like that explanation has happened, then with the director and the intimacy coordinator, we're all on the same page. Then we start mapping it out. So like the rehearsal would be like, there's suggestions thrown in, and then me and Connor had to find like the actual just flow and like what felt comfortable with our movements to like make that possible for them. So like how it actually happened was all basically Connor and I's were like, this is what my body would do. This is my, as you're feeling the space. So like originally he was like sitting on the counter, then it just changed because of how his body was in the room, etc. And the choices we made, he was kind of leaning up against the counter like this. So then that changed, where my character would move according to like my objective, etc. So it was a lot of just play, rehearsal, figuring it out. But it was so efficient. Like, Connor and I are both, like very comfortable actors, so it was just easy to just like jump right in.
Yeah, there's like so much more consent and there's like no peer pressure in the process.
Exactly. And also for intimacy stuff, like they have closed set protocol. So for anything with extreme intimacy, and it could be anything, even if it's just requested, if an actor is like, I don't feel comfortable, they go to closed set protocol, only people who are necessary in the room and everyone else is gone, to just limit how many eyes are on you. And then the actual like lip bite moment and stuff, we basically rehearsed once and the director's like, great, let's do it. Can we do it? We're like, yeah.
Oh my God.
And so but we kind of just did it on the first take.
Wow.
Like it looked the same. It was like that on repeat with different lenses and they changed up the shots, but it was just, we like,
you're just a professional lip biter, Kaden.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Add it to the resume.
But I just love that people are like the lip bite. It's like, God, I'm known for like this viral moment in this viral series.
What's been the most surprising thing to happen, like coming out of the success of Heated Rivalry for you personally? Like, has there been new opportunities? Has there been a funny viral tweet?
I think it's my first experience where there's actually like, I'm on a project where there's an actual like major fan base. So it's my first experience with, people who are just like, you're representative of this character in a universe that people like are so enthralled by. And it's like a really fun thing because I'm very social. I really love people and like interacting, and so for me it's been a joy to like actually interact with like fans. And I don't often like that necessarily like that word, but just like people who are like they're sharing their love and support, and we wouldn't be here literally without them. And so it's like it's really cool to see these people send their messages, and I've gotten like such beautiful messages as well about people just saying how this show has healed a part of them. I really think what it's doing just in general is incredible, but especially for the queer community, it's like really just insane. So again, like I really feel lucky to be on something like this.
Well, and you went to the Toronto premiere. This is before the show even like blew up.
Yeah.
How did you feel in that moment? Like, did you think it was going to be what it's become?
Yes and no. We always knew it was going to be big because there was such a big fan base from the books already. And also book fans are the most insane fans. I think it's gaming. I think people who are like fans of games, like, and then second and then first place is book people. So like they're just diehard. And it was like, you know, it was kind of there. We knew, and it was like, hey, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be fun. It becoming what it is now, like as an overnight success. And like, I don't think we've seen this happen in a while. None of us were expecting this. You know, and there were moments where like a lot, because originally it was just Crave, hey, which is like just a small Canadian streamer, has such a small amount of audience and viewership compared to like something like HBO. So when we heard like literally days before the premiere and release that HBO is hopping on, we were like, holy shit. Like there were a lot of streamers that were interested, but like to get something like HBO was mad. It's like, you know, top tier, like, wow. So it was incredible. So like something like that totally helped, but I don't know. It's the people. I think it is the people that's making it viral. People have been wanting this. People have been wanting a happy ending for queer people, and people have been wanting a good fucking queer show. Not that there's been so many good ones, but like something just with like the storytelling and like the character, like everyone is so well rounded, and it's just like incredible. And I think it has such punchy moments that are like so liberating for so many queer people, right? Like the coming out in front of a huge audience in the NHL, and I'm coming to the college, like just so many like brilliant things.
It almost feels like a perfect storm in that like so much was leading up to this. Like you think back to like the last few years of queer media, like there was Fellow Travelers, which was a huge hit, but that was on a super small streaming service, so it was hard to access or naturally blow up. And then you had like Red, White, and Royal Blue, which that, you know, gained some more momentum with like the girls, I think. Like they kind of loved that, and I'm so excited for the sequel that's coming. But then you have both a show that people really eagerly wanted and a creative team behind it that was also super invested and wanting to make this something special. Like you said, it's about the people, but it's like honestly the people on both sides that made it so special. Because I think I saw Francois said somewhere that like so many people had said, oh, no kissing until the 5th episode.
Yeah.
But as a creative, Jacob had to fight to make the show what it was and make sure it stayed true to his vision.
There's like an aligned understanding, especially on our end as the like Canadians. This show could not have happened in America. There's a lot of people who think it could not have been pulled off, given the political discourse and polarization right now, given the fact that Jacob, as a queer man, also like was like, I know what I want in my art. And he's like, I need a big platform, but I need the art to remain. He was like, I'm not backing down. And so when he had like those early offers, people are like, oh, we want to change how the episodes look, etc. Because these big streamers and stuff were coming from it with a formula, right? Like as soon as you get too big as a company, you get into formulas. And yes, I understand like there's a lot of money involved and expectation and financial this and that and executive whatever. But that's the difficulty, is like at the end of the day, when someone comes into it and they're like, I'm choosing the art, that's why we got the result we got. Right? It's like, it's insane. So I'm so proud of him for sticking to it, and so proud of everyone involved, because the people involved, like you said too, like not just like from the top, but all the way through, like the actors, the cast, the crew, everyone, they saw it. They wanted to be on this because they loved what was happening, right? Like the budget we had was not huge by any means, right? It wasn't like people are coming in as being like, I want a paycheck. We're like, hey, this is a queer story with like that we want to help tell.
And to your point, like the artistry, like I think there's a creator, I think her name is Valentina V, and she goes behind like the cinematography and how they shot each film. And I mean, I personally was like dumbfounded to see like how well the show was shot and lit. Like there was so much artistry behind it based on the budget. Like you would think that they weren't filming to like the best of their abilities. But they were like balling on a budget. Like they were squeezing every single dollar and taking advantage. And I think what's so interesting is I think we're going to see a shift now in big studios like picking up smaller projects like this, like based on the success of Heated Rivalry and seeing like the top line, how much it cost. I'm hoping that studios are going to start to take risks on smaller projects, because when there is so much artistry involved in a smaller project, like if you find the right audience, like it can clearly, the right formula can blow up.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Crave has announced that Heated Rivalry will be getting a season 2, adapting Ilya and Shane's story from the long game. Sasha isn't in the book originally. He's a character that was kind of built out for Heated Rivalry. If you could pitch a plot line to Jacob for the character, what would it be?
All right, hear me out. Sasha is from Russia and speaks Russian. Ilya speaks Russian. Sasha lives in Paris and speaks French. Shane speaks French. All I've imagined is a scene where they're all in the room and Sasha is communicating to them in their languages that the other one doesn't understand and fucking shit up. How good would that be?
So you want like your own Challengers moment in a way.
I like this idea. We need to figure out what the scene is or the storyline.
And also like, they established that Svetlana and Sasha are friends, and there was kind of some type of 3-person dynamic between them and Ilya in the first one. And that was a decision made by production, right? It's not in the book. But Svetlana, I don't know if this is...
Do I need to mute?
Yeah, maybe turn it... Can I say... This might be a...
Go ahead.
She's in... the long game.
She's in the long game. So, and did you get to the Boston part yet? When they kind of make up? Yes. Because like, what if Sasha was there as like her bestie still? And Ilya was like, oh, whoa, I haven't seen you in like a decade.
Yeah. But I mean, you could go anywhere. It could be just like he's like this fun character you throw in and he doesn't care that deeply about Ilya. And yeah, he's just along for the ride with Svetlana and is kind of this stylish piece that people are like, hey, nice to see him back. Yes. Or you could really have him fuck shit up. And
I like that.
Oh, so you heard that part.
Well, that's kind of like what but like for real, I mean, he's like, when it comes to like devices in film, he's like the perfect formula for a villain, right? Especially if he actually does care for Ilya. Then when things are revealed to certain people in the going on, but what I mean is like when Sasha gets wind of it, it would just be a perfect opportunity. Clearly, he doesn't have an issue flying everywhere, right? If he like lives in Paris and potentially is from wealth, I'm sure that he could literally be like, I'm going to America.
And maybe Sasha can become best friends with them. Maybe, they'll work it out on the remix and then it will be,
Yes.
I don't think he needs to be a complete villain. Maybe it starts a little bit like, will they, won't they? And then it kind of, we smooth the bend, right?
But I think it's interesting because in my head, he doesn't speak English, but he does speak French and Russian. So it's like, there's not you can't have him around other characters. You know what I mean?
Wow, you're really challenging me here now too, because I don't speak French.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know like un petit peu, but like that's what everyone says.
What does that
It
mean?
just means a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Mhm.
Okay.
We learn French in Canada, like up to a certain level. I think it's like grade 9. It's different per province, but
Sure.
yeah, it's a second language.
Okay, you mentioned earlier Lunar Sway, your project that you have in the works. According to your IMDb, it's in post-production. What can people expect from this?
They're gonna love it. First of all, it's it's a queer Canadian feature film, kind of coming of age, kind of set in presumably like New Mexico, if you will. We shot it in Canada's only desert, which is the Okanagan Valley in BC. It's kind of near Vancouver. And oh my God, it was so much fun. Just such a quirky story about really odd people and such an interesting, like it's a very artsy, very, very artsy film. And once again, I play an ex-lover.
You're getting typecast.
I know. It's not the worst thing to be typecast as, but it'd be nice to have one day.
I've been saying that for
Take
years.
the X away. Yeah, exactly.
Well, Kaden, thank you so much for doing this and being here. It's been so fun. I'd love to end every episode with a question to those who come on for the first time. If you think about a younger version of Kaden, you when you're growing up in the, outskirts of Toronto, what advice would you give to him?
I'd tell him to learn French, first of all. To fucking pay attention in class. I would tell him to enjoy like the journey and to work on patience. Because I kind of was talking about it a little bit earlier, but if my career and my life went the way I wanted it to way back when, I don't think it would have gone well, because way back when I didn't even know who I was. And even as I was figuring it out, I think there was just like a lot of things I had to become secure in first. Like even when I was younger and I was super religious, I was like, oh, I want to be an actor. And like, thank God in some ways I wasn't super religious and an actor, because they can be hard to work with, right? Like when religion has like, I have a certain lifestyle I have to live, but an actor, the whole point is that you're representing all different ways of life, right? So yeah, I would say be patient and enjoy the process, and yeah, you will look back and be grateful for it.
That's awesome. That's great advice. Well, thank you again, Kaden and Spencer. Kaden, do you want to give everyone your socials so they can follow you?
Yes, you can find me at Kaden Connors on Instagram and TikTok.
Amazing. And Spencer, where can everyone find you in Gay Water?
I am at Hot Suspenders and at Drink Gay Water.
It's the best seltzer you can have, I promise everyone. But you guys can follow the podcast on Instagram at UnpackTHT and on TikTok at UnpackThatPod. Thank you again, Kaden, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.